The biggest fix that Tobago needs right now, brothers and sisters, is to get the autonomy bill passed in Parliament. That is the fix that we need. And I want you to say to your representatives, who will soon be no more, get your UNC friends to support the bill. Red Army, good evening. Roxborough, good evening. Who you voting for? Who you voting for? I stand here this evening depending on your energy to take me through. Because I don't know if you realize that I came on the stage late because Satan did not want me to stand at this podium this evening. And I was lying in a vehicle outside, and the prayer warriors came and they surrounded the vehicle and they just called on the strength of Jehovah. And because of Jehovah's strength, I am able to stand here as Nadine Stewart-Phillips saying from Exodus chapter 14 and verse 14, the Lord will fight for me and I will hold my peace. It gives me great pleasure, brothers and sisters, to address you as no stranger to a People's National Movement platform. This evening I introduce myself to you as your humble servant, daughter of the soil from Queen Street, Betsy's Hope, and your prospective candidate and next representative for the electoral district of Roxborough, Argyle. You know, in life, there are many times we sit and we plan what we want to happen when, and what we want to accomplish at what time. And when it doesn't happen at that point, we may feel like people are against us, and we may feel that we are not enough. But one thing I have learned on this journey is that delayed never means denied. And Almighty God appoints His servants in His season and in His time. And this evening I stand proud, I stand brave, I stand confident under the banner of the People's National Movement. And I said to God, just like Isaiah said, here I am, send me. I am excited, brothers and sisters. I am energized, and we are ready. And although the pandemic has forced us to operate with limited numbers, the fire that burns from the People's National Movement will give us that momentum that we need to rally the troops to victory on December 6th. And it would be remiss of me, brothers and sisters, to not recognize my political leader, a young woman in whom I am well pleased. And the political leader may know or may not know that she inspired me to really get into politics. Allow me to recognize as well our Deputy Chief Secretary, Mr. Joel Jack, who stood in the gap for me this evening when Satan thought he had me. I recognize as well the very young and vibrant Franca Cordner, your next representative for Palativere lands from East Speyside. And of course, Punchin, my cousin, and your next representative for Belgarden, Glamorgan. All other candidates present this evening, and I take this opportunity to recognize my friend, my colleague, my sister, Mrs. Marcelin Melville Jack. Because she got up from her seat and she came to the vehicle and she said, dig deep, and get on that stage. I recognize as well Mr. Charles Adams and all other candidates as I seek to enter my discourse. Brothers and sisters, it would be remiss again if I stood here and not pay homage to Mr. Hilton Working Sandy. A man who is no stranger to any of you sitting here this evening. And I mention him specifically because it is him and his work in this district that prepared the way for me to stand here as your prospective candidate. A man I worked very closely with in his years as a representative, and whom we can all agree transformed lives in every possible way. And so this evening, Mr. Hilton Sandy, as I have always said to you, I salute you, sir, and I am committed to following your lead and taking this electoral district to the next level. Brothers and sisters, this is a critical time in our history, in our development, and in our lives. And I want us to understand that the result of January 2001 election was not by chance, because easily we could have been thrown into opposition. But we, as a party and as a people of Tobago, we were given that opportunity to pause, to reflect, to reconnect, to regroup and return. And we are at this point because we have been given another opportunity to get it right. And Roxborough, Argyle, I ask that you stand and be counted on December 6th. Choosing to offer to serve at this level is not a decision that I took lightly. Service is a calling. It asks that you put the needs of your community and your people before yourself and your family, to desire to make a difference when others say you should give up, to accept the criticisms that will come. Ask me about criticisms, I know. Ask the political leader about criticisms, she knows. Service is not for the faint-hearted, but when you are called to serve, it is impossible to ignore that call. And I commit to Roxborough, Argyle, that I am ready and willing to work with every one of you. And I want you to just picture with me for a bit, just 10 years back, even 20 years, Roxborough, Argyle, and all the communities in this electoral district, Delaford, Louisdore, Betsy's Hope, Kendall. It is not the communities that we know today. And if we are to be very honest with ourselves, we would admit that before the People's National Movement in Tobago, we had more challenges with roads and other physical infrastructure. But this transition that we have seen over the last 21 years commenced under Mr. Hilton Sandy and a PNM-led administration. And you see, brothers and sisters, you live in an era where propaganda has been given relevant prevalence over factual information. And you hear the many cries, PNMN do nothing for we, time to vote them out, 21 years of them, we want change now. As a party, we in the People's National Movement are always the first to admit that we are not perfect, but our track record of service and delivery and performance is of utmost importance, and it is what keeps this ship steady. We have already laid a platform, brothers and sisters. Roxborough has its own hospital, fire and police stations, administrative complex, all state-of-the-art facilities, access to key services like never before, courtesy the People's National Movement and no one else. And my aim as your representative, Roxborough, Argyle, is to do much more with your support. So on December 6th, you have a choice to stop the progress and venture into the unknown, or build on what we've developed, or vote for performance, or you can choose 4 years of on-the-job training, quality and quantity, or you can put your confidence in a mixture of youth, energy, and experience. I'm sure you all know the story of the parable of the dog and the bone. The dog had something of value, and yet he chased after what he thought he could have and went home with nothing. And that's exactly what those on the other side offer you. No track record, no service record, no leadership, and if recent times are anything to go by, no presence at all. I have been walking this electoral district for the past weeks. As a matter of fact, I may have been the only candidate on the day that I was told that I was the representative. I started walking the very afternoon, very late in the evening. And I have heard the cries and the complaints of all residents in this electoral district. People have said to me, I only see my representative if I happen to scroll through Facebook. And that is not me saying so. That is what the residents have said to me as I have been walking, showing up at people's doorsteps, preying on their vulnerabilities, showcasing their shortcomings to the world, and nothing happens after. And I want to tell a story this evening, specifically of a young woman who I would remain nameless for now, who was used and publicly humiliated for the world to see under the guise that he was going to help her to rebuild her home. And on my very first walkabout, I met that young woman in another community, and we spoke. And she walked away in tears because after being degraded and humiliated all over Facebook and promised help from the Facebook man, to date she had received nothing. And in that moment, I even forgot I was a politician, and my helping profession kicked into gear, because many would know that I am a social sciences professional first. And I said to my campaign manager, if it's one thing that we must get done during this campaign, we must find a way to assist that young woman and her family. And when you hear us on the other side speaking to the fact that you don't have to hold office to help, you don't have to hold office to serve, once you understand how to form partnerships, once you understand how to network, once you understand how to build relationships with other persons, you can get things done. Because without me holding any position in the Tobago House of Assembly, without me having to call Clarence Jacob, without me having to call Shamfaka Joe to ask for help in self-help, I can say to you this evening that through the generosity of the business community and my passionate plea, we have started to assist that young woman in only a matter of weeks. Okay. And my campaign manager reminded me that on Thursday, we are going to cast the flooring. And that is what we talk commitment, P&M style. And I ain't getting caught up in the old talk. I ain't getting caught up in the old noise. I ain't getting caught up in the fanfare. I am just working in silence and allow success to be my noise. And this is the type of leadership and representation, brothers and sisters, that I intend to take throughout this electoral district. Leadership by action, solutions-oriented. And I pledge my commitment that representation to the people of Roxborough, Argyle, will come with a difference when you elect me as your assemblyman and next representative on December 6th. Brothers and sisters, the best we should conclude is that leadership takes many forms and comes in many guises. After all, we look to leaders and representatives not only to frame issues we face, but to propose credible solutions and courses of action. When faced with divisive decisions, Some leaders are bold, whilst others are quite resolute. But it all comes down to that essential stickling point, the character of the individual leader. And I stand bold and resolute this evening as your next representative, ready and willing to make difficult choices between imperfect solutions, but always with a sense of duty to the residents of Roxborough, Argyle. We are a work in progress, brothers and sisters. Development is a continued process. My commitment to you, Roxborough, Argyle, will be one of collaboration. Whatever will be done in this electoral district must be us working together. Again, from our conversations over the last few weeks, my determination is to advocate for plans, projects, development initiatives that will benefit you. We in this electoral district are on a journey. We want to continue building our infrastructure, building our human capacity through training opportunities, developing our community with the right spaces and the right facilities, the right programs and projects in those facilities. We want you young entrepreneurs in this district to be that catalyst for a vibrant public sector that will help to turn around our island's economy in the midst of this devastating pandemic. As your representative, I intend to create a comprehensive database with everyone in my electoral district, utilizing the concept of asset-based community engagement, which will assist me in identifying resources and skills that already exist within the community, because I know that every community in this district have persons that can contribute to overall development. And this Roxborough Argyle will be our space. Utilizing existing resources, we will become a more empowered people. Brothers and sisters, just to mention a few of the focus points, as more will be coming out in my manifesto in the next couple of days, we would be looking at addressing unemployment. And I know that unemployment is not only specific to Roxborough Argyle, but I wish to remind you that it is this People's National Movement administration that decreased unemployment in Tobago over the years. And so we would also be reducing by determining potential employability of persons through collating skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled persons. And what we would be doing with these persons is collaborating with training providers and institutions to provide the relevant training that will empower residents to become more employable. Farmers and fishermen, I have met a lot of you on my journey. Greater access to land and rationalization of land tenure, those are some of the concerns that will be addressed. The farmers in both Argyle and Louisdore outlined this as a major issue. Developing access for the farming community, access roads, and of course developing our ship fish depots to focus on fish processing. And Madam Political Leader, I take this opportunity as well this evening and using this medium to put you on notice that the people in this electoral district are saying that we need an indoor sporting facility in Tobago East. We know that there is one in Scarborough, but we are starting the conversation here and now. And as your representative, we would ensure that Roxborough Argyle is the electoral district that will be identified for that indoor sporting facility. And only have me on record telling the political leader that this evening. And so, brothers and sisters, the People's National Movement, we have planted the seeds to allow for this to happen. And you, Roxborough Argyle, you and I would be partners together, responsible for bringing these to fruition. For those who may wonder, how can we tell the difference between what the PNM is offering and what the other side is offering? And the answer is very simple: vision. The People's National Movement has always had a vision, a plan, a roadmap to guide this country and this island. Time and time again, we have delivered on our plans and our assurances, and that is how you know that they are not empty. I want you to understand, brothers and sisters, that leadership and representation is not new to me. I have served the people of Tobago. As a matter of fact, I have served Trinidad and Tobago first as a senator, then as a councillor in the Tobago space. And this opportunity, I was able to understand the governance structure of the Tobago House of Assembly. Being in administration has provided me with a wealth of knowledge and experience in formulating effective policies. And what this ensures is that I, as your representative, would never insult your intelligence by saying to you that I will give you an ex gratia payment to all persons employed in the Tobago House of Assembly before Christmas. Because a simple Google search will tell you that payment is an amount of money that you would receive by your employer as a termination when you have left your employment, and not just because, as is being promised by the other side. But I was not surprised when I heard, as this is the type of grandstanding and empty promises that the nameless person is known for. The same person who proudly said on an interview some time before that country people don't read papers and they don't watch news, so they can't keep up with what is going on. And that is how he sees us, Roxborough, Argyle. And we must put an end to this type of insult by voting resoundingly for the People's National Movement on December 6th. And we keep hearing the cries of, let me fix this. But as my brother Joel Drack said, how can we trust a known destroyer who has suddenly morphed into a fixer? And you can go read for yourself the track record of the chief destroyer over the years of the organization that he leads. I don't need to stand and outline his shortcomings to you, because all are we big and we are sense. The biggest fix that Tobago needs right now, brothers and sisters, is to get the autonomy bill passed in Parliament. That is the fix that we need. And I want you to say to your representative, who would soon be no more, get your UNC friends to support the bill. Stop encouraging them to say that Tobago is getting too much. Let we fix that. We are not a perfect party. Again, we don't boast of being perfect, but we ensure that we create necessary policies and programs for all to benefit. And so, brothers and sisters, as I bring my discourse to a close, because I know the time is against us, there are no guarantees of continuity if you fail to elect me and the PNM as your representative. When we examine the choices that are available to us, we must determine if we want to continue on the path to greatness or be caught up in the glitters that would soon fade away. Brothers and sisters, you continue to see us by our work and not just by our talk, that this party has Tobago's interests and heart. Rest assured that the People's National Movement is still the best party to rebuild this economy. The PNM is still the only party with a track record of service and delivery. The PNM is still the best party for continued confidence and good governance. The PNM is still the only party with fresh ideas, the only party strong enough to stand on its own, to stand up for you and the people of Tobago. And Roxborough, Argyle, I implore you to protect your future and go further with us for the love of Tobago. So, brothers and sisters, as we stand red and ready to face the polls on December 6th, fully armored with your PNM war paint and your balize waving in your hand, we ain't taking no prisoners. The People's National Movement team of 15 has the vision, the compassion, the philosophical conviction, a cohesive team, and God's blessing to bring victory to the people of Tobago, led by a woman tried and tested, none other than our political leader, Tracy Davidson Celestine. And so, brothers and sisters, this is no hard decision to make. There is no comparison to make, because great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the People's National Movement, and we shall prevail. I thank you.
On December 6th, take no chance. Protect your future. Vote PNM. Great is the PNM.